Hello there. Thank you for joining us on this latest issue of Frank Talk with Gilbert. Again, I am Bob McLean. I am the one with the honor of being your MC for this show. And I have with me, as always, the one and only, the president, CEO, and founder of DebtMasters, Mr. Gilbert Landriault. Gilbert, good to see you again.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Life is good. Life is very good. So now, Gilbert, we have been talking about credit scores, and we've been talking about raising, lowering, your credit limits, your scores, and all of this kind of great stuff. And you've mentioned multiple times about how important it is to have a budget. And so our show today is going to be talking about the budget. And what I'd like to find out from you is, what is an effective budget? Do we need to record every last thing? Is it something we can do at a high level? I'd like to just pick your brains here. If you can talk about this and what goes into making an effective budget.
Definitely, Bob. When I talk to people, out of 10 people, only 4 have a budget and know what a budget is. The other 6 are wondering why they're broke and they can't make ends meet at the end of the month. They go out, they have fun, and they're struggling at the end of the day. So the main thing is to show them. We do have programs at DebtMasters that will guide them and show them how to start to make a budget. Yes, your question, do you report everything? Yes, but you can do that for 90 days. You put every penny that you spend just to know where your money is going, to have an idea. Perfect example, I have a couple that was making $7,400 a month and they couldn't pay the electrical bill. So they had no budget. And when I asked them, well, you want a budget? Well, we don't have time. And I said, well, this meeting's over because I'm here to help people that want to be helped. So they decided to take a budget. And after 4 months, they had $3,000 in the bank. Their electrical bill was paid, and they were getting on a successful path by doing the budget itself. There's kind of 5 different steps that you can do to start a budget, okay? First of all, you got to write everything down. You got to make all your categories of expense. And we do have a program at DebtMaster that we give you a budget spreadsheet, and you can write down your goals. You can write down all your expense on it, the mortgage, your car, and it calculates everything for you. And it tells you at the end of the day if you have money left or if you're broke. Okay. But it shows you how to get back on track. I would say out of 10 people, Bob, only 3, lucky 4, if they have a savings account.
Okay.
People don't have time. They have nothing left to save at the end of the month. So by doing the budget, you see where you're going. Are you going out to the bars too often, or to the restaurant too often? Are you spending $300, $400, $500 a month, on entertainment? And you're wondering why your credit cards are full all the time. It's because you can't make ends meet. Life is great, but at the end of the run, you got nothing left to be able to support yourself. And if there was a rainy day, that's when trouble starts. So the main thing is to understand your spending and saving habit. That's the main thing. Where is my money going? Plain and simple. That couple that had $7,400 a month, the husband was spending and not telling the wife, and he was taking the money from the mortgage to buy tools, to do whatever he wanted to do. Ooh. So when she came to pay the mortgage, well, there was no money left. So okay. Communication is the third one. You must communicate, and this is our budget. This is what we got to work with for the next 90 days. We have to cut corners. We have to, it doesn't mean you have to starve yourself. Instead of going to a restaurant 5 times a month, go to a restaurant twice a month. So you're already saving 3 times. So take that money and don't go and buy something else. Put it in the savings so that you can have at least 3 months of backup. So if you're sick, or if you happen to lose your job, you have money to help you until you catch your next job or get better health-wise at the end of the day.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple of minutes ago about having goals for your budget. What's a budget goal? What kind of things might your goals be?
Well, why people get in trouble, Bob, is they say, well, let's go let's have a weekend and go somewhere. And when they come back, they realize they spent $1,400 on a weekend because they didn't plan it, and it was, I want it now. But if you set your goals, okay, we're going to go on a weekend in 3 months from now, and we know the hotel, the cost of this and that, it'll be $800. We're putting the money aside for it. We'll use the credit card, but we have the money to pay it off. So I'm not falling behind. I'm planning, so I'm successful at this small goal at the end of the day. You should have small goals, medium goals, and long-term goals, always. And sometimes you can't save that much, but at least if you start saving, you'll have something in it compared to keep doing it without looking at it, and then you're always broke at the end of the day. I want to buy a bicycle to my kid, but I don't have the money. But you're spending $300 on beer and booze and entertainment that you could buy that bike eventually if you cut $100 a month there. You still go and have some booze and party, but in 3 months you're going to have the money for the bike. People don't think that way.
So that would be an example. Like, I'm going to buy a bike for my son or daughter in the spring,
Right.
and it's not going to put me into debt. I will have the money to just pay cash for that bike.
That's right. I'll give you a personal example that we do. My wife goes and sees her mother every year, and it's a 10-day. She takes the train or the plane, and she goes there. She spends quality time, and we don't use our money. We use my pocket money. Every day I come home, I put it in a jar. That's her money to go and see her mom. And by the end of the year, Bob, I have between $800 and $1,200 in that jar. So
nice.
she used her credit card to pay for it, but she has the money to pay for that trip and money to spend. So
that's okay. It's slightly off topic, but what you just said, I think, was really important, is that she's still using a credit card, but as soon as the bill comes in, you pay it in full.
That's right.
Okay.
So the main thing is to plan it. And if you have a spouse, a partner, you should be communicating so that if you're both in that bank account, well, the other one knows what's coming in and what's coming out. So that way you don't get in trouble at the end of the month. So. Okay.
So now I can see where I would budget for all my utilities, my mortgage or rent, whichever that happens to be, my cell phone and my internet and some big things like that. And if I want new furniture or a new TV, I could see I've got a budget for that. But what about the small stuff? I get a coffee at Tim's every day, or I go to Starbucks and I buy stuff. Do I keep track of like the little stuff, or a pack of gum? Is that too small, or what?
You do that for the first 90 days, Bob, just to see where your total paycheck is going. That's how I started having a budget years and years ago. Is I was like everybody else. I was spending, and then when I realized how much I was spending on coffee, it was ridiculous. So I bought a machine, made my own coffee, had my cup, go in my truck. So now my coffee is costing me 35-40 cents compared to $1.20, $1.50, and it's made from home. It's homemade coffee. And I'm a Tim Horton guy, but I have a machine from Tim Horton, so I still have my Tim Horton coffee. So it's a way of saving some money. And I was one of the worst one. I was not looking at the small expense, and that's what becomes a savings account at the end of the day. I had 4 or 5 coffee a day. Okay, now I have 1 coffee in the morning, and I have water for the rest of the day. So I'm saving 4 coffee a day. Well, it's $1.80 per coffee. Calculate that in 7 days. That's a good little saving. And at the end of the month, here I am. I have $100 or $120 that I would have not have if I didn't make that little effort. Okay. You must make an effort to go forward. If you keep doing what you're doing today, you're going to be broke next month. But if you make a step or 2 sideways and make something different by cutting somewhere without starving, you will suddenly realize, oh, here we are. We have $800 here. Well, we can buy that new couch that we wanted. We have the money. We don't need to use the credit card and pay humongous interest rate on it. And that takes the money away from our kids. So.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. So create a budget. Start by analyzing everything, and then stick to it. Put some goals in there. Try to make sure that you're paying with money that you have instead of paying with credit, and stick within your means, and your means will grow. Would that summarize the whole thing?
Yes, and you said something about paying your utilities and all that. The average house items, you use about 68% of your paycheck for your living. So there's so much left, 32%. Well, people spend 45. That's why they're broke. They have no budget, and so they overspend. So you have 32% left. Live with that meaning. That's the main thing. Create your budget. This is what we have now for the rest of the month. This is what we can do with it. Well, we can't do it this month. Well, it'll be next month. If you don't overspend, that's when you're going to start having a savings account. You have to understand 68% of people don't have a savings account, just a checking. That means they can't make anything new next month because they're just breaking even. They're 3 months away. If they were to lose their job, they're 3 months away from bankruptcy. That's how bad it is out there. So you need a budget to control, remove the stress, have a better lifestyle with your partner, less fighting and all that. And, you know, to have a good moment, because you can plan together to have a weekend here, spoil yourself at the end of the day, go out with the kids, vacation to Disneyland. Well, half the people go there with their credit card. And we'll pay later. Well, it cost them a fortune by the time that trip, which would have been $2,400, $3,000. I'm just giving you an example. By the time they pay that credit card, is $5,000. If they had planned it, they would have had that $5,000 good trip and no bills to pay. Plain and simple.
Got it. And I guess that works for Christmas too. Plan ahead and Christmas.
Same situation. Situation. Yeah, we'll buy it now, pay it later, and that toy that's $30 now costs them $80. That's right. Okay. Takes away money from their kids and their lifestyle.
All right, that's fantastic. So it sounds to me like we need to have a little bit more focus on the spending and the spending habits, and how to figure out where your money is all going to. But that'll be for another week. So Gilbert, thank you very, very much. I guess one of the things you mentioned a little while ago was that budgeting tool to help people figure out, keep track of their expenses and make sure that they're staying on track. I just want to let everybody know that that we have on the page here, we have a link to that budgeting tool. Please follow it. Please fill it in. If you have questions, if you're in a situation where you've got so much money and it's costing you, even more than that on a monthly basis, and you can't see how or where to reduce it, give us a shout. That's what we're here for. So there's you can set up a session. There's a link for that on this page as well. So get your budget started. You don't need to wait till January to get a budget started. Do it today. So Gilbert, again, thank you very much for another very, very informative session here. We really appreciate all this information.
You're welcome, Bob. It was a pleasure.
And for everybody else, thank you for being here with us today. Come on back again next week for the next issue of Frank Talk with Gilbert. So until next week, bye for now.
Goodbye.